Okay, I have to tell her today. Oh, where do I start? Kiara, Zira had a plot. I was part of it, but I don't want to be.
What if Kovu's destiny wasn't to follow Scar, but to save the Pride Lands? Kovu's journey from villain to hero is full of twists and turns, but there might be more to his story than we thought. Could he have always had a good heart, just waiting for someone to believe in him? His first meeting with Kiara as a cub shows a playful side that Zira tried to stamp out but couldn't. Perhaps that moment revealed the real Kovu all along. Let's take a closer look at his story and uncover the hero hiding beneath the surface. Did you catch all the clues about his true nature? Kovu's story starts before we see him in The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. He's born into a world of shadows and hate, but there's something different about this little lion. Zira's son enters a world where he's expected to follow Scar's paw prints. But is he really Scar's heir? Or is there more to his past that we don't know? Zira trains Kovu to be the next Scar, pushing him to embrace darkness and revenge. But when we look at Kovu's eyes, do we see a gentleness that doesn't match Zira's fierce determination? Remember when Kovu met Kiara as a cub? That playful spark wasn't just cute, it was like a tiny flame of hope in the darkness of the Outlands. Let's go back to that moment by the waterhole. Kovu and Kiara are laughing and playing without a care in the world, splashing and chasing each other. It's like all the hatred between their prides disappears for a moment. But then Zira and Simba show up and suddenly it's like a storm cloud blocking out the sun. Watch Kovu's face as he's pulled away from Kiara. That's when his two possible futures start to clash. There's Zira's path of hatred and revenge, and then there's the chance for friendship and love that Kiara showed him. As Kovu grows up, Zira keeps pushing him to be her weapon, but something in Kovu doesn't quite fit. What if his real destiny isn't to be like Scar, but to find his own way? We can see it when he's with Nuka and Batani. He wants to keep them safe, and that's not what Zira taught him about being strong and in charge. And what about when Kovu's by himself? Does he practice fighting, or does he look at the stars and think about life outside the Outlands? Maybe he even tries to sneak back to the waterhole, hoping to see Kiara again. As we keep watching Kovu's story, those little moments of kindness get more important. They show us who Kovu really is. What if every time Zira said he did well at being mean, Kovu felt weird inside? What if he liked helping the younger Outland cubs more than planning to hurt Simba's pride? Kovu's journey from being an outcast to becoming a hero starts with meeting Kiara, but it doesn't stop there. He's always fighting between what Zira wants and the good inside him. Will he pick love over doing what his mom says? Can he be strong enough to say no to Zira's plans? As Kovu gets older, both prides put more pressure on him. Zira wants one thing, but Kovu can't forget that fun day with Kiara. What if Kovu's real strength isn't fighting, but being kind? What if the things Zira thinks are weak are actually what make Kovu special? This struggle between two paths shapes Kovu's entire life. Every day, he has to choose between the darkness Zira wants for him and the light he saw with Kiara. It's not just about picking sides, it's about Kovu figuring out who he really is. Can he break free from Zira's influence and become his own lion? Or will the weight of his pride's expectations be too much to overcome? As Kovu grows older, something's off. Zira pushes him harder, filling his head with revenge stories, but Kovu's reflection shows someone who doesn't want to hurt anyone. Two Kovus fight inside him, and we're not sure which one's gonna win. In that fire scene, Kovu saves Kiara, and his face tells a different story. It's not hate in his eyes, but surprise and maybe even recognition. His true nature shines through like a ray of sunlight breaking through storm clouds. He's brave, compassionate, and definitely not the killing machine Zira wanted. Kovu joins Simba's pride, and everyone thinks it's part of the plan. But what if it's more? What if Kovu's looking for a way out, a chance to be something other than Scar's heir? Around Kiara and her family, he's curious, kind, even playful. That's not what Zira trained him for. It's like he's discovering a whole new side of himself, hidden away for so long. Alone at night, Kovu's internal struggle is real. He's torn between his growing feelings for Kiara and his loyalty to his family. On one side, there's this beautiful spirited lioness who sees the good in him. On the other, there's everything he's ever known. How's a lion supposed to choose? Kiara becomes an unexpected ally. She's got a heart of gold and a mind of her own. As they spend time together, Kiara helps Kovu question his loyalty to the outsiders. She doesn't do it on purpose. She's just being herself, but her kindness and different outlooks start to rub off on Kovu. The real Kovu emerges like a flower blooming in the desert. Zira thought she was raising the perfect weapon, but what if she was actually nurturing a peacemaker? What if Kovu's true strength is in his capacity for love and understanding? But Kovu's journey is full of twists and turns. Every step towards Simba's pride is a step away from everything he's known. And Zira? She's not gonna let her prized pupil go without a fight. The pressure's building, and something's gotta give. Simba's not exactly welcoming Scar's heir with open paws. Every time Kovu tries to prove himself, there's Simba watching with suspicious eyes. Kovu's caught between Zira's rage and Simba's distrust. How's he supposed to find his place when neither side fully accepts him? All this conflict is forcing Kovu to really look at himself, to figure out who he is and who he wants to be. Every challenge, every doubt, it's all part of his transformation. He's not just growing up, he's growing into himself. And through it all, there's Kiara. She sees Kovu for who he really is, not as Scar's heir or Zira's weapon, but as a lion with a good heart who's lost his way. Their relationship isn't just a cute lion love story, it's Kovu's lifeline, a chance at redemption, a glimpse of a different kind of life. Remember when Kovu saved Kiara from that fire? It was the start of something big. Kovu really started to see things differently. He was supposed to be tough and mean, but saving Kiara showed a whole different side of him. Kiara saw it too. She saw the real Kovu, not the one Zira wanted him to be, but the one with a good heart. Then there's that whole teaching Kiara to hunt thing. Kovu wasn't just teaching Kiara to pounce and stuff. He was learning too. He was discovering joy and freedom, things Zira never taught him. Can you imagine growing up never knowing what it's like to just have fun and be free? But Kiara showed him all of that. You could see it in his eyes. He was discovering a whole new world. What about that stargazing scene? When Kovu and Kiara looked up at those stars, something big was happening. The savannah night was alive with chirping insects and a soft breeze rustling through the grass. The stars above twinkled like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky. Kovu wasn't just seeing constellations, he was seeing a whole new future. A future where he wasn't Scar's heir or Zira's weapon, but just Kovu, a lion who could choose his own path and make his own choices. Kovu starts talking to Kiara about his doubts about Scar's legacy. Kiara doesn't just listen. She tells him something that changes everything. She says, Scar chose darkness. You should have seen Kovu's face when she said that. It's like everything he thought he knew just got turned upside down. Kovu never thought about it like that. He always thought he had to be like Scar, but Kiara showed him that it was a choice. Things are getting complicated. While Kovu's heart is opening up to all these new feelings and ideas, Zira's plan is still moving forward. Kovu's caught right in the middle. He wants to tell Kiara and Simba the truth about why he's really there, but he's scared. What if they reject him? What if he loses everything he's just found? The weight of that secret is crushing him. You can see it in every move he makes. Kovu's growing love for Kiara is forcing him to really look at Scar's legacy and question everything he thought he knew about himself and his place in the world. Every moment with Kiara is pulling him further away from the path Zira laid out for him and closer to who he really wants to be. As Kovu and Kiara get closer, the stakes are getting higher. Zira's not going to sit back and watch her plan fall apart. Simba's still not sure if he can trust Kovu. You've got these two young lions falling in love, but their families are ready to tear each other apart. Kovu's right in the middle of it all, so now we're left wondering, is their love going to be strong enough to overcome all this hatred and history between their prides? Or is it all going to come crashing down around them? Zira's not going to give up without a fight. Simba's got a whole kingdom to protect. It's like Romeo and Juliet, but with lions and a whole lot more at stake. But wait, remember how everything was going so great for Kovu and Kiara? Well, Zira's about to turn their world upside down because she's not done with her plan. What if I told you that Kovu's about to face a moment that'll change everything, and it's his entire future on the line? So there's Kovu walking with Simba, and he's finally ready to come clean about everything. He wants to tell Simba the truth about Zira's plan and how he's changed. But before he can get the words out, they're suddenly surrounded by the outsiders. You can see the horror on Kovu's face as he realizes he's trapped in a situation of his own making. It's like all his choices are coming back to haunt him at once. Simba manages to escape, but at a terrible cost because Nuka, Kovu's brother, is killed during the chase. Kovu gets all the blame. Zira's furious, she turns on him in a rage, and that's when she gives him that scar across his eye. But hold on, that scar becomes a living reminder of choices made under pressure. It's like a symbol of everything Kovu's been carrying around all this time. Kovu runs back to Pride Rock, desperate to explain everything to Simba, but Simba won't listen. The betrayal is too fresh, too painful, and you can see how much it hurts Kovu. He's trying so hard to make things right, but sometimes sorry just isn't enough. And then comes the moment we've all been dreading. Simba exiles Kovu from the Pride Lands. But watch Kiara's reaction closely because she's the only one who still believes in him. She sees something in Kovu that no one else does, and it's tearing her apart to see him go. This exile is like the breaking point for Kovu. Everything Zira's been pushing him towards all his life, it's all coming to a head, and now he's got to make a choice between his family and his heart. And let me tell you, it's not an easy decision. You know, there are some fans who think that if Kovu had just managed to tell Simba the truth earlier, things could have been so different. Maybe Nuka wouldn't have died, maybe Kovu wouldn't have been exiled. But that's the thing about life. Sometimes the moment passes before we even realize it's there. And speaking of that scar Kovu got, it's not just a physical mark. It's like a constant reminder of everything he's been through, the expectations Zira put on him, the weight of Scar's legacy. It's all there, etched into his face for everyone to see. It's like he's carrying around this visible sign of all the internal struggles he's been going through. But here's the thing, even though Kovu's world has been shattered, this isn't the end of his story, not by a long shot, because sometimes when everything falls apart, that's when we find out who we really are. And for Kovu, this is just the beginning of his true journey. And speaking of Kovu's true journey, what if I told you that being alone in the wilderness isn't his downfall, but actually his chance to finally discover who he really is? Without anyone else's expectations weighing him down, Kovu comes face to face with his reflection in a still pool of water. It's like looking into a mirror that shows not just his face, but the depths of his soul. For the first time, he sees himself without Zira's voice in his ear or Simba's suspicious glare. And in this moment, Kovu starts to understand that he's not defined by his past or his family's legacy, but by the choices he makes right here and now. Kovu's solitude is suddenly interrupted by Kiara's appearance in the wilderness, and their reunion marks a turning point for both of them. Kovu, struggling with his identity, suggests running away with Kiara, leaving everything behind and starting fresh, but Kiara's response is crucial. She doesn't agree to run away. Instead, she reminds Kovu of who he really is deep down and what they need to do to make things right. It's as if she's holding up a mirror to his soul, showing him the brave and compassionate lion he's always been underneath all that anger and fear. As Kovu listens to Kiara's words, something amazing happens. We see his whole demeanor change right before our eyes. His entire being shifts as he accepts this new path that Kiara is showing him, a path that leads away from Zira's plans and towards a future where he can be true to himself and fight for what's right. As Kovu and Kiara race back to stop the battle between their prides, we finally see the lion. Kovu was always meant to be brave, selfless, and kind. It's like all the pieces of his true self are finally coming together. Kovu's about to uncover a shocking revelation about Scar's legacy. It turns out that Scar's story isn't about power at all. It's about the cycle of hatred that keeps spinning generation after generation, trapping lions like Kovu in a web of anger and revenge. But Kovu's finally breaking free from that cycle. He's choosing love over hate, compassion over revenge, and it's this choice that completes his transformation from Scar's heir to his own lion. Now that Kovu knows who he really is, he has to convince two warring prides to put aside their differences, and that's no easy task when both sides are so caught up in their anger and pain. But Kovu's transformation is exactly what these prides need to see. His journey from hatred to love could be the key to healing the rift between the Pridelanders and the outsiders. Kovu's not just fighting for himself anymore, he's fighting for a future where lions from both prides can live together in peace, where cubs like he and Kiara once were don't have to grow up learning to hate each other. When Kovu stands between the two prides ready to fight for peace, he's not just showing them a new way to live, he's showing them the power of love to overcome even the deepest divides. The final battle between the prides becomes a test of everything Kovu's learned on his journey. This confrontation proves that love can change everything, even in the face of generations of hatred. Kovu's true strength lies in his heart, and as the battle rages on, Kovu and Kiara show everyone a different way. When Kovu and Kiara stand together in front of their families, they become a powerful symbol of unity that makes everyone stop and think. Facing Zira for the last time, Kovu stands tall and proud, ready to fight for what he believes in. It's like watching a whole new lion emerge. As Kovu faces down Zira, something incredible starts to happen. The other outsiders who followed Zira for so long begin to question everything they've been taught. Kovu's courage spreads, and suddenly they're wondering if there's another way to live. Then comes a moment that changes everything. Zira is falling, and Kovu tries to save her. After everything she's done to him, he still wants to help her. It shows how much Kovu has grown, choosing compassion over revenge even when it's hard. As the dust settles and the prides start to come together, we see the real magic happen. Kovu moves between the groups, talking to his old family and his new one. He's building a bridge between two worlds that have been apart for so long. Simba accepts Kovu, and it's more than just a happy ending. It's like watching Kovu's whole journey come full circle. This moment is the fulfillment of his true destiny. Not to be Scar's heir, but to be the one who brings everyone together. Kovu and Kiara roar together at the end of the movie, and it hits us. This was never about Kovu following in Scar's paw prints or living up to Zira's expectations. It was about healing the wounds of the past, showing that love can overcome even years of hatred and fear. Their combined roar symbolizes the power of unity, breaking the chains of an age-old curse. Kovu's story is powerful because it's about all of us. His journey shows that no matter where we come from or what we've been taught, we all have the power to choose our own path, to stand up for what's right even when it's hard, and to bring people together instead of tearing them apart. Kovu's story connects to other stories we love like Frozen and Zootopia because they're all about overcoming prejudice and learning to see beyond our differences. Kovu is right there at the heart of it all, showing us that unity and understanding can triumph over even the deepest divides. Kovu's transformation from outcast to hero is about something bigger than personal redemption. It's about tackling real-world issues like prejudice and hatred. That's why his story resonates with so many people. We can all see a little bit of ourselves in Kovu's struggle to find his place and to do what's right. What if we could see ourselves in Kovu's story? What if we could find the courage to question the paths others set for us, just like he did? Imagine watching The Lion King 2 again, but this time you're looking for those moments where Kovu's true self shines through. You might be surprised by what you discover. Kovu's journey shows us the power we have to shape our own destinies. He chose love over hate, compassion over revenge, and found his own way. His story reminds us that it's not where we come from that defines us, but the choices we make. So next time you're feeling stuck, remember Kovu and find your own courage to change your story.